You've been told to eat your veggies. But what if I told you, at your age, some of those healthy vegetables might actually be silently damaging your heart? This isn't fear-mongering, it's a warning. Because after 60, your heart changes. And certain vegetables, yes, vegetables can do more harm than good if you're not careful. Most doctors won't tell you this, but I will. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 5 vegetables your heart hates, and more importantly, what you can eat instead to stay strong, energized, and protected. I've helped thousands of older adults get their energy and independence back, and today I'm going to help you. So stay with me, because the first vegetable might be on your plate tonight. Let's start with one of the most common healthy vegetables in a senior's kitchen: canned tomatoes. They're cheap, convenient, perfect for stews, sauces, and soups. But here's the truth: most canned tomatoes are loaded with sodium. Why does that matter for you? Because your heart over 60 is more vulnerable to salt than ever before. As we age, our blood vessels naturally stiffen. High sodium intake forces your heart to pump harder to move blood through those narrower channels. That's why so many seniors end up with high blood pressure, even if they eat healthy. Here's what they don't tell you: even small amounts of hidden salt, like the kind found in just half a cup of canned tomatoes, can silently raise your blood pressure day after day. You might feel fine, but inside your heart is straining. You may feel slightly more tired after walking up the stairs. You might think that's just age, but what if it's your blood pressure creeping up? And the worst part? You'd never suspect tomatoes. That's what makes them so dangerous. I once had a patient, Margaret, 69, who loved making tomato soup from canned ingredients. After a heart flutter episode, we reviewed her food journal and saw the sodium overload. We swapped in low-sodium alternatives and fresh tomato puree. Within weeks, her blood pressure normalized and her fatigue improved. And here's another thing to keep in mind: many brands also use a chemical called BPA in the can linings. BPA can leach into the food, especially acidic foods like tomatoes, and has been linked to blood pressure spikes and arterial damage. So what can you do? Opt for BPA-free cans. Choose no-salt added varieties. Better yet, cook with fresh tomatoes or make your own sauces at home. But there's another common vegetable, even more popular than tomatoes, that tricks your body into thinking it's healthy while quietly raising inflammation. If you're serious about protecting your heart, you can't afford to miss the next one. Now let's talk about eggplant. It's elegant, it's in Mediterranean diets, it looks innocent. But for some older adults, eggplant can quietly spark inflammation that strains the heart over time. Eggplants belong to a group of vegetables called nightshades. And while nightshades aren't bad for everyone, many seniors are more sensitive to the alkaloids they contain. One in particular, solanine, can irritate your gut and joints, yes. But what most people don't realize is how this irritation triggers a subtle inflammatory response throughout the body. Why is this a problem? Because chronic inflammation doesn't just cause discomfort. It increases the risk of heart disease. It makes your blood vessels stiffer. It disrupts your body's ability to regulate blood sugar, all of which forces your heart to work harder than it should. Here's the kicker: you might not even know eggplant is the culprit. You'll just feel a little more tired, a little more achy. Maybe your blood pressure is stubborn despite medication. Maybe your cholesterol won't budge, and you'll chalk it up to age. But what if it's a food you thought was healthy? I've had patients who removed nightshades, especially eggplant, from their diets and felt relief in days. Lighter, more energy, less stiffness, better sleep. Take Henry, for example. He was 73 and swore by grilled eggplant sandwiches. But after a mild cardiac arrhythmia scare, we looked deeper. 3 weeks off nightshades and the inflammation markers in his blood dropped significantly. His resting heart rate down by 10 beats per minute. So what's the fix? Try swapping eggplant with zucchini or sweet potatoes. Watch for hidden nightshades in sauces and seasoning mixes. If you suspect nightshades are affecting you, do a 14-day elimination and see how you feel. But the next vegetable, this one's the most deceptive. It's raw, it's crunchy, and it's marketed as one of the healthiest snacks you can eat. But after 60, it might be the very thing throwing your heart off balance. If you snack on this regularly, you'll want to pay very close attention. Celery, the diet vegetable, the crunchy, low-calorie snack we've been told to eat for better blood pressure and hydration. But here's the shocking truth: for some seniors, celery does the opposite of what it promises. Now, don't get me wrong, natural celery on its own isn't the enemy. The real problem comes from how it's consumed and what's hidden inside. Most people over 60 aren't eating raw, organic celery sticks straight from the garden. They're getting celery in prepackaged veggie trays, soups, or worse, celery salt. And celery salt is a major sodium bomb. It's used in everything from Bloody Marys to spice rubs to processed salads. Just a pinch contains more sodium than a full-size pretzel. And even raw celery isn't as harmless as it seems. It contains natural compounds called psoralins. In most cases, they're harmless. But in sensitive individuals, especially those taking medications like blood thinners or blood pressure pills, psoralins can interfere with how your body metabolizes these drugs. That means your medication might not work like it's supposed to, your blood pressure might spike unpredictably, your heart rate might become irregular. Even worse, you probably won't feel it right away. That's the scary part. These are silent side effects, gradually adding pressure and instability to your cardiovascular system without warning sign. One patient told me she thought her new heart palpitations were stress. Turns out she was snacking on celery with hummus 3 times a day. Once she cut back and swapped it out, the palpitations stopped. Celery isn't evil, but for aging hearts, the interaction between food and medication becomes much more sensitive. You can't just eat what you did in your 30s and expect the same results. But even celery doesn't hold a candle to this next vegetable because it hides in salads, side dishes, and so-called heart-healthy recipes. It's sharp, it's spicy, and it's quietly wrecking your arteries every time you take a bite. Let's talk about raw onions. Yes, onions. Those sharp, spicy slices that show up in salads, sandwiches, and side dishes everywhere. They're often praised for their antioxidants, and some even say they help clean the blood. But here's what they don't tell you. For some seniors, raw onions are anything but heart-friendly. You see, onions, especially when raw, are high in sulfur compounds. In moderation, these can support the immune system. But when you're over 60, things change. Your digestive tract becomes more sensitive. Your body metabolizes these compounds differently. And for many older adults, raw onions don't get broken down the way they used to. Instead, they ferment. They trigger bloating, gas, and gastrointestinal stress. Why does that matter for your heart? Because the gut and heart are directly connected. When your digestive system is inflamed or overactive, it releases stress signals throughout the body, raising your cortisol levels, blood pressure, and overall heart strain. It's a chain reaction. You eat raw onion, your gut flares up, your cortisol rises, your blood vessels constrict, and your heart has to beat harder to compensate. Now, you might not feel this as pain. You might just feel off, a little edgy, a little more tired, or maybe you start to feel irregular heartbeats after meals and don't know why. I once had a client named Denise, 65, lively, healthy, no major conditions, but she started experiencing heart palpitations every evening after dinner. We ruled out caffeine, sugar, even salt. Then she casually mentioned the red onions in her salad. We removed them for a week. Her symptoms disappeared, just like that. And if you're thinking, but I've eaten onions my whole life, you're not wrong, but your body isn't the same. After 60, your enzyme levels decline. Your stomach acid weakens. Even your gut flora shifts. What was once helpful may now be harmful. So what's the better move? Cook your onions instead of eating them raw. Cooking breaks down sulfur compounds and reduces gut irritation. Use heart-friendly herbs like parsley, dill, or turmeric to flavor your food instead. If you're still craving crunch, add sliced cucumbers or shredded carrots to your salad. No fermentation, no flare-ups. Now, the final vegetable on our list is often found in detox diets and juicing plans for seniors. But in reality, it could be the most deceptive of all, quietly draining your heart strength day by day. If you've ever tried to cleanse your body with this last one, you might be shocked at what it's actually doing to your heart. Kale, the crowned king of the health world. It's in green juices, salads, and superfood smoothies everywhere. But for seniors, this leafy green could be silently draining your heart's vitality instead of boosting it. Why? Because kale, especially in its raw form, is packed with oxalates. These compounds bind to calcium and can create crystal-like formations that contribute to kidney stones. But more importantly for your heart, high oxalate intake can interfere with mineral absorption, especially magnesium and calcium, 2 nutrients that your heart desperately needs to function properly. Low magnesium, that's a direct route to irregular heart rhythms, muscle spasms, and chronic fatigue. And here's something else. Kale is a goitrogenic vegetable. That means it can suppress thyroid function, especially when eaten raw and frequently. And an underactive thyroid doesn't just make you tired, it slows your metabolism, increases cholesterol levels, and yes, puts more strain on your heart. Many older adults start their day with a green smoothie loaded with raw kale. They think they're doing something good, but behind the scenes, they're disrupting their body's delicate mineral and hormonal balance. I had one client, Angela, 67, who swore by her morning green drink, but after months of fatigue, sluggish weight gain, and nighttime palpitations. We looked into her diet. She was drinking kale juice 5 days a week. We cut it down, lightly steamed her greens, and added magnesium-rich foods like almonds and avocados. Within a month, her energy was back, and so was her steady heartbeat. So should you avoid kale altogether? Not at all. Kale can be a powerful vegetable when prepared correctly. Here's what to do instead. Always cook your kale. Steaming helps reduce oxalate and goitrogen content. Rotate your greens. Use arugula, romaine, or bok choy. Never rely on one veggie for all your nutrients. Variety is heart protective because even the healthiest looking vegetable can work against your heart if you don't treat it with care. You've just discovered the 5 vegetables your heart hates most after 60. But before you go, there's another danger hiding in plain sight. And this time, it's not a vegetable, it's fruit. Healthy fruits you're probably eating every day. Ones that secretly harm your joints, your circulation, and yes, your legs. Click on our next video to find out which innocent fruits might be making your morning walk harder than it needs to be.